Welcome to Brave Healer Productions. It's time to experience what's possible. So, what if there's something you haven't learned yet that could change everything? Welcome, everyone. I'm Laura DeFranco, the CEO of Brave Healer Productions, where we are helping the world experience what's possible. And here today to help me with that mission are some of the amazing authors of one of our newest books. This one is called The Wellness Universe Guide to Complete Self-Care, 25 Tools for Transformation. And I have some pretty cool people in my Zoom room today to introduce you to. Before that, though, a huge thank you to our lead author and the founder of the Wellness Universe, Anna Pereira. Anna, thank you so much for your big vision and mission for this book. This is the 6th book in the series, the self-care series, you guys. It's quite an undertaking. And Anna, we are grateful for you for so many reasons. Thank you for gathering this stellar cast of expert co-authors around you for this transformation book. This is a phenomenal book. All of the inspirational people you drew into this collaboration, it's really outstanding, you guys. I can't wait for you all to get your hands on it. So I have Danae Fortune McKnight. She's a life empowerment executive coach, passionate about empowering women to embrace their strength, own their worth, and thrive in every stage of life. Gillian Hood is here. She's an eating disorder recovery coach and intuitive eating counselor who helps women break free from chronic dieting, disordered eating, and eating disorders. And Kathleen McPhillips is a body, mind, spirit, life master teacher assisting humanity in their spiritual awakening. Ladies, I can't wait to talk with you about this topic of transformation today. Danae, we're going to start this off with you. Tell us a little bit of the why behind the chapter that you wrote.
Okay, thank you, Laura. My chapter is number 18, and it is about a woman's worth, looking for affirmation and finding it within. And one of the reasons why I wrote this chapter is because I see powerful women in my line of work all the time. And a lot of times behind that powerful woman is someone who is hiding. And it just crushes me to when I start to talk to them and find out that all the power and all the beauty that I can see in them, they can't see it in themselves. And as we start to peel back the layers, one of the things that I found that was just a recurring theme was that they just did not see their worth. And it just crushed me to see that. And so I just wanted to share in my chapter about that and about how we can go about really finding our self-worth, first of all, by acknowledging and realizing that that is the core of a lot of things that we're dealing with and why we're hiding behind the mask that we are.
Yeah, this is a perfect way to kick off this interview today, and really the topic of transformation, right? Because worth is foundational to pretty much every other work you can be doing. We're standing on top of the work of worthiness, aren't we? Right? What it
Yes.
what do you think? We have a lot of people listening, and we're all on different stages of the journey. And I'm like nodding my head to Danae about what she's talking about, but I don't know where to start. Like, what would you say to someone who needs to just take a baby step?
One of the things that I would say is to let's look at your values. Let's look at your values without any of the trappings or anything like that. Really, at the core of it, what are your true values, separate from everything? And then we start to look at those values and look at your how you're living your life, and do those things align? And after that, then we can start to kind of peel back and see where they don't align and kind of start looking at why.
I remember a time when I started some of the values work. And first of all, I don't know that you'll ever be fully 100% solid on values. I think they
Right.
change over time. Yeah. But
Hmm.
I remember doing the work and thinking, I have no idea. I got frustrated because, I was forced to like decide What do you want to tell people about that?
To decide about your values.
Yeah, it was like labels for me, and I didn't want to make any definitive choices because I wasn't exactly sure yet. And I wanted to stay a bit open about it. And what if I want these and these and these? And it became overwhelming a little bit. Where do I start with that if you're going to start a client on that values journey?
I think one of the things that we can do is really to look at the things that are important to you. Look at the things that are important to you and what you do and how you treat people and how you want to be treated and how you live your life when you're authentic, not when you're trying to mask for someone else. How do you really like to live your life? How do you really want to live your life? How do you really want to show up in the world? And from that we can start to kind of glean what your values are.
Yes, perfect. Danae, I kept pulling it out of you a little bit because sometimes it feels like it's so simple, but y'all are master teachers and you're doing it every day and you've done your work and you walk your walk. Sometimes I think when we back up to help a beginner, it's like, oh yeah, what did I do first? Thank you for saying yes to this project and for being here to share your wisdom today. Okay, so Kathleen, tell us a little bit of the why behind your chapter.
Okay, my chapter is chapter 6, The Awakened Mystic, Learning to Trust in Yourself. And that's my why. My why was really acknowledging the depth of my spiritual journey and understanding that I've had mystical experiences my whole life. And it's time to share all of that. I feel like the world is more open and receptive to that reality because it is a part of our reality. And that is my why.
Mm. I just immediately had this idea of a quote meme or, a graphic. I'm like, mystical experiences are a part of reality. I love that. Okay. Give me a quick example. Like maybe not the whole story, but yeah, the time when the trees talked to me. I don't know. Tell me your example.
Well, I grew up Catholic, and very quickly, those kind of things were only meant for the saints. You can't be mystical. You're not a saint. And so for me, it was like a kind of a lifelong struggle of acknowledging that I was having these experiences and just having knowing with a capital K. Like today, they call it downloads. But so often I would just know things. And, the biggest thing that I knew was that I had to get to move away from everyone and everything that I knew to retreat in the mountains of the Adirondacks. And nobody else understood that. Nobody. It went against everything everybody ever saw in me or expected me to be. And it was the right thing for me to do. So that's why my mystical experiences really have taught me to trust in myself. But it took a long time.
I think you're talking to a lot of people where it's been quite a journey to get to the point where you trust your own experience, what you
Yes.
are knowing, seeing, hearing,
Yes.
downloading.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
What was well, so for me, it was a moment of questioning everything I thought I knew about everything. Like, what have I been taught? What,
Yes.
and how can I question it? Is that the similar for you? Do you remember what
Yes.
happened?
Yes. As a matter of fact, when I retreated to the Adirondack Mountains, that's the work that I did. In yoga, it's called swadhyaya, and that's self-study. And that's what I did because I was trained in how to do that because I studied for 6 years. And I unraveled that big ball of yarn, unraveled the expectations of others, my belief systems that didn't align with who I am. Like we're so programmed by the time we get to adulthood that so much of what we're thinking and saying and doing is not in alignment with our true self. So it's time for us all to awaken to that divine presence within us and learn to trust in that because we all have it. And today we are all meant to awaken to that, and we are meant to live in alignment with our soul or our infinite self. That is the part of you that will never mislead you. The journey to learning to trust in that is interesting.
That's a good word.
It's interesting, but there are guidelines, there are ways that you can kind of test and work with it. And, and most of the time, those messages are whispers. They're not big clunks on the head, they're whispers.
Kathleen, thank you so much for saying yes and for being a part of this project.
Thank you. Thank you.
So these are big potatoes topics, y'all. Like, having a lifetime's worth of coming to finally trust yourself is quite a thing. And I'm just, I don't know, I'm always blown away by all of you who are coming into these books and really sharing lifetime's worth of wisdom. Gillian, how about you? Tell us the why behind your chapter.
Okay, thank you. So I am chapter 9, I believe. Now I just lost it. I think it's 9. And it's mutual trust, find peace with food in your body. And I have to say, just sitting here listening, I'm so excited to be in this group, and I'm sure there are parallels throughout all the chapters, but the idea of self-worth, the idea of self-trust is inherent in what I do and what I want for everyone I work with. So the why behind my chapter, I know my personal experience. I held myself back for a lot of reasons in doing what I wanted to do in the world or supporting others or stating, what I believed and my experience and all of those things. And a huge part of it was definitely my own inherent self-worth, what I thought of that. But it was also about, I don't look the part, whatever that means. And I've worked with so many people, especially women, but more and more it's just all genders these days, who feel like they need to look a certain way in order to be able to get their message out there. And it's such a problem because there are systems that are encouraging people to hold themselves back, and we need to be able to break through those in order to do our work in the world and support other people. And so, one of the big things that I work on with people is how to accept your body. And also, a big part of that is how you eat. And food is we eat for pleasure. And it's become this thing about I must follow the rules and I must do it this way and I must restrict in order to make my body look a certain way. And all of these things backfire. And again, there are systems, and I could name them, but there are systems out there that want us to believe this, multi-billion dollar systems who want to keep us focused on these small things. And when we can let go of that, trust that, and know our bodies will tell us what to eat, when to eat, why to eat, how to eat. We're born with these cues and we unlearn them because we're trying to follow everyone else's rules and follow what so and so is doing because they look a certain way. And we all have inherent worth regardless of, what we look like or how we eat. Food has become morality as well. If we don't eat the right food, if we don't look a certain way, then our morality isn't in alignment with whatever, society says it is. So I really wanted to write about how to break free from that so that you can start to live your life, no longer putting it on hold, no longer, thinking I have to be a certain way in the world in order to, or I have to conform in order to be able to be who I am. And again, I love what everyone has shared so far, things like values and self-trust. These things are part of it, but it also starts with being able to allow yourself to eat food that you enjoy so you get pleasure from it instead of punishing yourself with food or by restricting food and being able to get nourishment from food and pleasure and let your body do its job, which is keeping you alive. And whatever size, weight, whatever that is, that's your body's job. And trusting that that's going to be okay so that you can just live your life. That's my main purpose.
Gillian,
Wow.
thanks for saying yes to this and sharing your wisdom today. All three of you. I have a huge thank you to all three of you. I'm going to give everybody a little sneak peek of the cover here while I say this thank you. But you all put your beautiful, vulnerable stories into this book. That was part of the challenge I gave you. And then you're all incredible master teachers. So for our listeners today, you're going to come into the second piece of each chapter with master tools. And it was the challenge I gave the authors to give you an experience in this book. You all coach and you work with people every day, but it's quite another thing to get it in black and white in a book in a way that the reader has an experience with it. And you all did this so brilliantly. So thank you for that. Kathleen,
Yes.
what does transformation even mean to you?
My biggest transformation was really learning to trust in myself. That
I
that's
need more. I need what do you mean, Kathleen? Like how?
okay. Let's see. By looking within myself, learning to trust in myself, living in alignment with myself, my whole life changed. Everything, my relationships, the work that I chose rather than working like in an office and being an administrative assistant and things like that I used to do, but to transform into the fullness of the power and the divine plan for me. Everything that I do through this transformation is in alignment with my higher self, with my soul. Everything. I know there's no toxicity in my life. There's no severe challenges. There's just that's the transformation. That's what transformation means for me.
I love the way that
Moving.
you kicked that off. That is a brilliant answer. And the reason for crazy big questions like this and collaborations of you all is I want to hear it in all the unique ways you all have to tell it, right? Gillian, what's your answer to that? What does transformation mean to you? What do you want to add to what Kathleen started?
I think transformation is a big part of developing resilience. And I believe that resilience is something that, we cultivate as we grow. And it's transformation is a usually in my opinion is a challenge, right? There's a challenge before us, and are we going to accept that challenge or not? And if we do, we are going to learn from it, no matter how hard it might be, no matter how it turns out. It's one big great experiment, and we might have a thought of, okay, I want it to be this in the end, but transformation, I think, usually has its own agenda. And so it's accepting what happens in the end and being able to learn from it. And it's like, why did this happen? And how can I grow from it?
I love that too. Thank you, Gillian. All right, Danae, you're going to have a chance to add to these two brilliant answers. What does it mean to you?
Ooh, for me, I think transformation is almost like just moving into another level and having just another reveal, kind of. Because the other part of that story and why I wrote the chapter is because all of those things that I was saying, as far as having a woman who seems powerful on the outside, but inside is really hurting, that was also me. And it took someone outside of me just speaking into my life, just looking at me and saying, this is what I see, to really touch my heart, and it transformed me. Just those words transformed me because the awareness now, somebody could see me and they could see truly who I was. And just that awareness took me into another level of just knowing myself, another level of self-awareness. another level, like Gillian said, where I needed to grow. And so I think of transformation as just like the next step or the next part of the journey.
Yeah, I love it. I love all your ways of talking about this, and you're all dropping golden nuggets of awareness. With awareness, we have a choice, right? Awareness is everything. So, awareness is really the foundation of transformation for me. So, I wrote a chapter in this book too, you guys. It's called Write Your Dream Life, WRITE. Had many transformations through writing and realized that I could create one if I got into my body to write, if I connected with the channel that I am. And so that was pretty big transformation for me, but I often think of it as a change of belief, and that could happen like right here in this interview right now, right one moment, where somebody says something in a different way, and it creates a shift in my perspective. It might even just create curiosity, and boom, I have transformed from believing it one way to now questioning it. That's a transformation to me. So this stuff is juicy, man. This topic, I'm telling you, I love it so much. Okay, so all of you brought your master tools into the book. Gillian, what's the most important thing you want people to know about finding peace with food and their body?
So the biggest thing for me is that instead of fighting with our bodies or fighting against our bodies, trying to make them do something that maybe they're not genetically programmed to do, or whatever the case might be, we can work with our bodies. So mutual trust, which is a term that I coined, is my body has a job and I have a job. My body's job is to let me know what it needs. And my job is to listen and not fight it, not doubt it, listen and give it what it needs. And because my body's inherent job is to keep me alive, it's going to let me know what it needs. And if I give it that, it can function at whatever the optimal level is of what, whatever my health status and all of those kinds of things. And so it's really forming a positive relationship with your body in order to help it do its job optimally and getting out of its way and stop trying to control it, essentially.
Yeah, this is so body awareness, you guys, even more foundational to just nothing is just, but regular old awareness, right? Because we're getting messages all day long right here. That listening, Gillian, I think is so key. So, all right. So let's go over to Danae for a minute. What is the most important thing you want people to know about a woman's worth, about worthiness?
I think at the core of it, that you are enough. I think so many times what we get is you need a little more of this, or you need a little more of that, or you need a little less of this, or you need a little less of that. And we're really good at helping other people understand that they're enough. We're really good at nurturing. We're natural givers, I think. But we're not natural givers to ourselves. That's for other people. And so a lot of times we are so busy giving and giving and giving, and we don't keep anything for ourselves. And part of that is what we've been talking about, that we are so busy focused on everybody else. We're not focused on ourselves. We're so busy nurturing other people. We're not nurturing ourselves. We're so busy giving to other people, and we feel guilty for receiving anything. And part of that is because of how we innately feel about ourselves and our self-worth. And so to that, I would say to know that however you are, however you're made, whatever you see, you are uniquely and wonderfully made, and you are enough just like you are. That doesn't mean that you don't need to learn anything, you don't need to grow or anything like that, but it just means that you're not flawed. And I think if we start there, and that's why my tools start with affirmation, really is to look at that higher power that we know that we can trust, that we know doesn't have a hidden agenda, that we know we can lean into and start really replacing a lot of that negative talk that we have for ourselves with affirmations of how wonderful we are and how unique we are to kind of build ourselves back up and then to get to those values. So I guess that might have been a few things, right? But yeah, I really want us as women to know that we are enough as we are and to build on that self-worth to do all the wonderful things that we're put here to do in this world.
Yeah, it's a big topic, isn't it? You're making me think of one of my favorite mantras or affirmations. I love having enough time, money, energy, and resources to generously take care of myself and everyone I love and serve. And
Yes.
this vibe of taking care of ourselves, if we can be a little bit more radical about that piece, everything else will fall in line, I'm convinced.
Hmm. Hmm. I
Mhm.
love that mantra.
Yeah.
Y'all can steal it. Just rewind and write it down. Okay. All right, Kathleen, you're going to close us out today on yours. What's the most important thing you want people to know about learning to trust in themselves?
Just like learning to trust in other people or other things, we have to know ourselves in order to trust in ourselves. And that journey begins by going within. We can't, we have to know ourselves, and we have to know that as we make that journey in, because I remember when I first began that journey, I said to my teacher, I'm kind of afraid to look within myself. And he said, there's nothing to fear. There's only beauty in you. And that's how it is for everybody. There's this beautiful light within all of us, this beautiful infinite self that
Yes.
that we all need to get in touch with, be aware of, but that begins by looking within ourselves, by sitting in the quiet of yourself. And even if you're just putting your hand over your heart, just feeling your heart breathe, your heartbeat, feeling your breath, being aware of it being cool on the inhale and warm on the exhale, just connecting with yourself in the deepest way and learning to trust in those little whispers, learning to trust that you're exactly where you're meant to be right now, here in this moment, and that every challenge that you may encounter in life is an opportunity for you to grow. And the more we move through life and trust in those little things, the more we begin to actually trust in ourselves and those inner promptings that come to all of us. But we need some quiet for that.
Yeah.
When our mind is really busy and life is chaotic, we can't touch on that it's too difficult. So we need to take time, even if it's just 5 minutes a day, to just sit in the quiet, put your hands over your heart and breathe and just be.
Yeah.
Well, right here and now in this amazing, generous, precious moment, I have thoroughly enjoyed being with you ladies. Kathleen, Gillian, Danae, thank you so much for what you do in the world and for being here today to share it with everyone. You guys, if you don't already get the vibe of this is way more than a book. This is a very generous community. And if anything somebody said today gave you the goosebumps, or maybe you've got a question, you need support, come on down into the show notes. I have everybody here hooked up with their websites, and they're very ready for your reach out. They're ready to answer a question, take the conversation on, right? And continue it, all those things. We hope you hop over to Amazon and grab your copy of this beautiful book today, you guys. 25 Tools for Transformation is ready for you. Lastly, today, everyone, remember your words will change the world when you're brave enough to share them. So it is time to be brave. See you next time, everyone.
Thank you.
You.